From the complete Grimm's Fairy Tales, this is The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids. There was once upon a time an old goat who had 7 little kids and loved them with all the love a mother has for her children. One day she wanted to go into the forest and fetch some food. So she called all 7 and to her and said, "Dear children, I have to go into the forest. Be on your guard against the wolf. If it comes in, he will devour you all, skin, hair, and everything. The wretch disguises himself, but you will know him at once by his rough voice and black feet." The kids said, "Dear mother, we will take good care of ourselves. You may go away without any anxiety." Then the old one bleated and went on her way with an easy mind. It was not long before one of them knocked at the house door and called, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother is here and has brought you something back for each of you." But the little kids knew that it was the wolf by the rough voice. "We will not open the door," cried they. "You are not our mother. She has a soft, pleasant voice, but your voice is rough. You are the wolf." Then the wolf went away to a shopkeeper and bought himself a great lump of chalk, ate this, and made his voice soft with it. Then he came back and knocked on the door and called upon, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother is here and has brought you something back with her for each of you." But the wolf laid his black paws against the window, and the children saw them and cried, "We will not open the door. Our mother has not black feet like you. You are the wolf." Then the wolf ran to the baker and said, "I have hurt my knee. Rub some dough over them for me." And then the baker had rubbed his feet over and ran back to the miller, and then he threw when the excuse me, and then when the baker had rubbed his feet over, he ran to the miller and said, "Strew them some white meal over my feet." The miller thought to himself, "The wolf wants to deceive someone," and so he refused. But the wolf said, "If you will not do it, I will devour you." Then the miller was afraid, and he made his paws white for him. Truly, this is the way of mankind. So now the wretch went for the third time to the house door and knocked and said, "Open the door for me, children. Your dear mother has come home and has brought every one of you something back from the forest with her." The kids cried, "First show us your paws, so we know that you are our dear little mother." Then he put his paws through the window, and when the kids saw that they were white, they believed that all he had said was true and opened the door. But who should come in but the wolf? They were terrified and wanted to hide themselves. One sprang under the table, the second into a bed, the third into the stove, the fourth into the kitchen, and the fifth into the cupboard, the sixth under the washing bowl, and the seventh into a clock case. But the wolf found them all, and used no great ceremony. One after the other, he swallowed them down his throat. The youngest, who was in the clock case, was the only one he did not find. When the wolf had satisfied his appetite, he took himself off and laid himself down under a tree in the green meadow outside and began to sleep. Soon afterwards, the old goat came home again from the forest. Ah, what a sight she saw there! The house door wide open, the table and the chairs and the benches thrown down, the washing bowl laid broken to pieces, the quilts and the pillows were pulled off their beds. She sought of her children, but they were nowhere to be found. She called to them one after another by name, but no one answered. At last, when she came to the youngest, a soft voice cried, "Dear mother, I'm in the clock case." And she took the kid out and told her that the wolf had come and eaten all the others. Then you may imagine how she wept over her poor children. At length, in her grief, she went out, and the youngest kid ran with her. When they came to the meadow, and there lay the wolf by the tree, it snored so loud that the branches shook. She looked at him on every side and saw something was moving, struggling in his gorged belly. "Oh, heavens," she said, "is it possible my poor children, whom he has swallowed down for his supper, can still be alive?" But then the kid had to run home and fetch scissors and a needle and thread and the goat cut open the monster's stomach. Hardly had she made one cut when the little kid thrust its head out. And when she had cut further along, all 6 sprang out one after the other, and all were still alive and had suffered no injury whatever. In his greediness, the monster had swallowed them down whole. What rejoicing there was, and they embraced. Their dear mother jumped like a tailor at his wedding, and the mother, however, said, "Now go and look for some big stones, and we will fill this wicked beast's stomach with them while he is still asleep." Then the 7 kids dragged the stones thither with all speed, and put them, as many of them, into his stomach as they could get in. and the mother sewed him back up again in the greatest haste, so that he was not aware of anything and never once stirred. When the wolf at length had had his fill of sleep, he got up on his legs, and as the stones in his stomach made him very thirsty, he wanted to go to the well to drink. But when he began to walk and move about, the stones in his stomach knocked against each other and rattled. Then he cried, "What rumbles and tumbles against my poor bones? I thought twas 6 kids, but it feels like 6 big stones." And when he got into the well and stooped over the water to drink, the heavy stones made him fall in, and he had to drown miserably. When the 7 kids saw that, they came running to the spot and cried aloud, "The wolf is dead! The wolf is dead!" and danced for joy around the well with their mother.